Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Guru Vedeva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Asmat Gurubhyo Namaha श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः ओम श्री मेधा दक्षिणामूर्ति स्वामिने नमः। ओम सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम। ओम पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्धदामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्र रुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्कपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसां पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तन्न विदुः सुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः। Namaste once again everyone.
Namaste Guruji.
नमस्ते। जन्म कर्म च मे दिव्यम् एवं यो वेत्ति तत्त्वतः त्यक्त्वा देहं पुनर्जन्म नैति मामेति सोऽर्जुन. So the 9th shloka we are seeing. So after completing the topics of Gita Stuti and Avatara Rahasyam, Krishna from this shloka reverts the teaching of Jnana Yoga. And here, as an introductory shloka, he briefly describes what is self-realization, or otherwise called God realization. What he is trying to emphasize is self-knowledge is no different from God knowledge, which culminates in the knowledge that there is no difference between the self and God. Atma Jnanam is that there is no dichotomy between Jivatma and Paramatma, and that they are one and the same Atma. And it is because of our ignorance, because of our wrong knowledge, that we make this dichotomy. Correct knowledge removes this dichotomy and establishes Advaita, the non-dual nature of the self, identification of the self with Ishvara, which is enshrined in the Mahavakyas like Aham Brahmasmi, Tattvamasi, Prajnanam Brahma, etc. Now, when you look at the truth of the creation from the standpoint of the totality, the macro, it is called God. When you look at the truth of the creation from the standpoint of the individual, then we use the word self. As I explained in the last class, just as the truth of the wave and the truth of the ocean is one and the same water, similarly, the truth of the world and the truth of the individual both are one and the same. When you study from the micro angle, from individual angle, it is called self-realization. When you study from the macro angle, from the totality angle, it is called God realization. Only the nomenclatures are different. The content of the knowledge is the same. And then Krishna points out that this is not an impossible proposition. Many people in our tradition have followed the religious or spiritual disciplines and accomplished liberation or moksha. And if many people in the past have accomplished that, there is no reason why you and me cannot accomplish. And therefore, Krishna says in this sloka, Yaha evam tattvataha veti. Who thus really knows? Evam means thus. Yaha who. Tattvataha really. Veti knows. Who thus really knows what? Me divyam janma karma cha. My divine birth and also my karma or actions. Saha deham tyaktva punaha janma na eti. After giving up the body, that person does not take rebirth, he does not take punarjanma, he is not born again. So what happens to him if he is not born again? Sahamam eti, he attains me, he will become one with me, he will have Brahma Nirvanam, or he will have Ishvara Aikyam. He will understand the non-difference with me. He will gain moksha. This was the sloka, introductory sloka. And Krishna further expounds this topic in the next sloka. And here, Krishna talks about the spiritual disciplines followed by the people of the past who have reached this state of moksha. Step by step, stage by stage, he takes us through. These are all very important slokas because if someone is really serious about moksha, I assume everybody is, but because moksha pursuit demands a lot of sacrifice. And unless you are mentally prepared, physically prepared for those sacrifices, it could be very, very challenging. So Krishna gives a guidance in this sloka. We'll read the sloka. Vitaraga bhaya krodha hai, manmaya mamupashrita hai, bahavo jnana tapasa, uta madbhava magata hai. Anvaya is upashrita mam bahava वीतराग भय क्रोधा है मनमया है पूता है ज्ञान तपसा आगता है मद भावम. This is the anvaya of this sloka. Upashrita mam, having resorted to me. Bahavaha, many people. Vita raga bhaya krodha hai, freed from attachment, fear and anger. Manmaya hai, absorbed in me. Puta hai, and purified. Jnana tapasa, by jnana yoga. Agata hai, have attained. Madbhavam, my nature. So having resorted to me, freed from attachment, fear and anger, absorbed in me and purified by Jnana Yoga, many have attained my nature. So here, God realization has got two stages. First stage is the realization of Saguna Ishvara, the Lord with form and stated qualities, etc. Like we have got Rama, Krishna, all that. Next is realization of Nirguna Ishvara, a Lord without form, without any qualities. Of course, this topic Krishna will discuss more elaborately in the 7th chapter onwards. But here we will just, to understand the background of this sloka, we will just touch upon that. And even Saguna Ishvara realization is put in two stages. One is Eka Rupa Ishvara Darshanam. As I said, appreciating the Lord with one form as Rama or Krishna, celebrating Ramanavami, Janmashtami, etc. Or Devi, in that also 3 forms of Devi, Lakshmi, Saraswati, and Durga, Lakshmi, Saraswati. Most of us are in this stage. Eka Rupa Ishvara Darshana. Appreciating Saguna Ishvara. And this is the starting point for the any spiritual growth. Without this, you don't talk about spirituality at all. And this is useful also because we all require it. It gives us a very easy way for our emotional health. We can convert Bhagavan into our father, mother, child, guru. We can convert Bhagavan into any type of relationship. Especially when otherwise we do not have a healthy relationship with some of our relations. Even including father, mother, etc., children, etc. So we can convert Bhagavan into anything, any type of relationship. So Bhagavan is available for emotional health, which is very, very important. Whenever we talk of health, we should talk of both physical health and emotional health. Both are important. Therefore, Eka Rupa Ishvara Bhakti is very useful. In fact, if you find yourself very close to Bhagavan, even as a friend, you can talk to Bhagavan in private within closed doors. Some people do it. They will sit before the altar and pour out all their problems. Tears will be rolling down their eyes. That much intimate they become with Bhagavan. And they have a faith, they have a belief that if I tell everything to Bhagavan, he is, Sarva Shaktiman, he will somehow solve my problems. You can become so intimate to Eka Rupa Ishvara. But of course, you should be secretive about it. Do not let everybody know that you are doing all these things. They may actually mistake your emotions. And of course, in our tradition, we have seen so many devotees have done such things. Tyagarajas, all kirtanas are nothing but addressing God, talking to God. Talking to Rama, who was his Ishtadevata. That's why we have got the concept of Kula Devata, Ishtadevata and all. Choose any Devata as your Ishtadevata. Get close to that Ishtadevata. I can tell you that if you have that, it can replace all other relationships and you will not, worry, you will not fret when some other relations of yours, including father, mother and all, You feel they are ignoring you or they are not treating you well and all that. You won't have dependence on that treatment at all. And the more you take to that relationship with the Lord, the more the Lord will become nearer. And this is called Eka Rupa Ishwara Bhakti. So this is the first stage. What is the second stage? You expand it further. Make it Vishwarupa Ishwara Bhakti. You realize that Bhagavan is not with just one form, but Bhagavan has got the whole universe as his form. Upadau yasya nabhihi Vyadasura nilaschandra suryau cha netre Karna vasha shirodhyaur mukhamabhi Dano yasya vasteyam abdihi Antastam yasya vishwam suranarakagago Bhogi gandharva daityaihi Chitram ram ramyate tam tribhuvana vapusham Vishnu misham namami. Where have we seen this sloka? Vishnu Sahasranamam Dhyana Sloka. Vishnu Sahasranamam students should recall this. This is the Vishwarupa Ishwara Bhakti. We will see elaboration of this in the 11th chapter of the Gita. 11th chapter is fully dedicated to Krishna revealing his Vishwarupa to Arjuna. So, Eka Rupam to Aneka Rupam or Vishwarupam, and both these are Sagunam only. Mind you, we started with two classifications, Saguna Ishwara Bhakti, Nirguna Ishwara Bhakti. In Saguna Bhakti, there are two divisions, Eka Rupa Ishwara Bhakti and Vishwarupa Ishwara Bhakti, Aneka Rupa Ishwara Bhakti. These are all Sagunam only. And what is the final stage? Final stage is neither Eka Rupam nor Aneka Rupam, but Arupa Ishwara Bhakti, Nirguna Ishwara Bhakti. Every spiritual seeker has to go through these three stages. And you can take as much time as you want. It does not mean that when you are moving from Eka Rupam to Aneka Rupam to Arupam, you abandon the previous ones. No. You need not leave Krishna and Rama to take to Nirguna Brahman today itself. As I told you, Saguna Ishwara Bhakti is a very, very big strength for emotional health. So even though you have reached the Nirguna Ishwara Bhakti stage and realize that or understand and appreciate that that is the only reality, you can still continue your Saguna Ishwara Bhakti. There is no ban on that. If you don't do it also, there is no problem. Depends upon one's own individual emotional requirements. But when you have reached that stage of a Jnani, Saguna Ishwara Bhakti should be a part of the routine, because we already saw Krishna said, people will follow me, whatever I do, they will do the same thing. So if not for your own self, if not for your own emotional health, in order to set an example to the people, how, in order to guide them through this spiritual path, continuing with Saguna Ishwara Bhakti, even though you have reached the last stage of Nirguna Brahman, is very useful. And of course, when a person grows in maturity, he will naturally, gradually grow out of the Saguna Ishwara Bhakti also. Just as a child, who plays with balloons and small toys, at some stage when they grow up, they will give it up. So similarly, we should have Ekarupa Bhakti as long as we enjoy it until we reach the next stage of maturity, which is to appreciate the presence of Ishvara in everything around us, including ourselves. When we say I am appreciating Ishvara in everything around me, it includes me also. Until we reach the final stage. There is no me, there is no Ishvara. That is the final stage. There, the oneness between Ishvara and me is realized. So this sloka talks about the stages that a seeker will go through. So what is the first stage? It is the realization of Saguna Ishvara, the Lord with a form and stated qualities. It is to have Saguna Ishvara Bhakti and follow Karma Yoga by dedicating all your duties to the Lord and by accepting all situations and results as Ishvara Prasada. So this is the first stage of life, of spiritual life, which is surrender to Saguna Ishvara and then converting life into a worship. 9th chapter, Krishna will say, Yad karoshi, yadashnasi, yadjuhoshi, dadasi yad, yad tapasyasi kaunteya, tat kurushva madharpanam. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer as oblation to the sacred fire, whatever you bestow as a gift, whatever austerities you perform, O son of Kunti, Kaunteya, do them as an offering to me. This is the essence of Ishwararpana Bhava. Everything you do it as a worship, as an offering to the Bhagavan, to God. And that's why, Puja Swamiji says, in our culture, traditionally, we have to cook food at home every day. Because we can only eat after offering to the Lord. And we cannot offer stale food to God. And therefore, it is compulsory to cook every day. If we follow this rule, all members in the family will get healthy and nutritious food every day. And in fact, there is one more rule in Ayurveda. Any cooked food has to be consumed within 4 hours of cooking, else all the nutrients in the food will be lost. It will become as good as stale after 4 hours. And that rule rules out eating stale food, including eating the food in the evening or night, which is cooked in the morning. Therefore, it is not only every day, but every time of the day, fresh food should be cooked, offered to the God, and then only we should consume. That is what is real Ishwararpanam. Of course, many people will stare at me when I say this. I'm talking about pre-refrigerator days. Suppose we plan to cook once in a week or once in a month also. Sometimes, it happens in foreign countries and all. That's what they do because both husband and wife are so busy. Both have to, they have to keep running at a faster and faster place to stay at the same place. It is just like that all of them are in some sort of a, what they call, what is that machine? Treadmill.
Race.
Treadmill.
Race of it.
Huh?
Race.
Not
rat race.
it is like a treadmill. Even you walk fast, you run faster and faster in a treadmill, you will stay in the same place only. So everybody is on a treadmill. And what they will do, they will cook for almost 1 week, 2 weeks and all. Maybe some will put some date of manufacture, date of cooking and put it in the fridge, arrange it date-wise so that you actually don't eat the latest food first, but oldest food first. Of course, many people these days, they don't understand all these things. If you tell them that, no, I will have only fresh cooked food, they will say, what is wrong? You keep it in the fridge. That is not, nothing wrong with that. You can eat that and all that. That arguments and all many people say because they don't understand why Ayurveda, what is the whole purpose of all these things. In fact, those who do Madhyana, there is a mantra. According to them, a food once eaten should not be eaten again. That is the remaining of the food, remainder of a food should not be eaten again. It is called Uchishtam. Suppose you cook in the morning and you eat that, then something balance is left. You are not supposed to eat that again, that balance. Now people will ask, what if there's all go in waste and all that? That is where the expertise of the person who cooks comes. Cook according to how much people will consume so that all the pots are empty after the meal. But then we can't watch TV programs and all that, which is all in the evening. So cook in the morning itself. There in Madhyanam, we take Argyam in the hand and we say, Yat Uchishtam, Yat Abhojyam, Yad Va Duscharitam Mama, Sarve Punantu Mamapah, and then we consume that Argyam. So, if at all I have done, I have eaten Uchishtam, or I have eaten something which I should not have eaten, Abhojyam, Duscharitam Mama, if I have behaved in a wrong way, Sarve Punantu, Bhagavan, Surya Bhagavan, please purify all my papas. So all these things are considered to be papa in our tradition. So coming back, it's very easy to go, stray away from the main topic. So the point is that when we are talking about Ishwararpana Bhava, the food we cook also should be first offered to Bhagavan and then only we must consume. And we cannot offer stale food to Bhagavan. And that's why, Pujya Swamiji says, what is a family? One aspect of family he highlights is daily cooking. It is a must. He says, then alone it will become a grihastha ashrama. So by following such a karma yoga way of life, we will purify the mind, which means we get rid of some unhealthy ways of thinking. We get rid of unhealthy thoughts, which are the mental impurities. Therefore, this is a necessary prerequisite for the first stage. And therefore, Krishna starts with Vita Raga Bhaya Krodha. Raga hai, Bhaya hai, Krodha hai. We know the meaning of all these things. Attachment, fear, anger. Vita means weakened, diluted, gotten rid of. Vigata hai. So he says you should get rid of raga, bhaya, krodha. First stage is Ishwararpana bhava and prasada buddhi. And when you follow that karma yoga way of life, you will land in Vita Raga Bhaya Krodha hai. Raga hai, emotional dependence on the world should get diluted or go away. And Raga hai includes Dvesha hai, hatred also. So first stop your attachment and hatred problem, which is born out of wrong thinking, which is when I look upon the world as a source of joy. I develop attachment. And when I look upon the world as a source of sorrow, I develop hatred. This is the wrong thinking. I consider the world as either Sukha Hetu or Dukkha Hetu. According to Vedanta, the world is neither a source of joy nor a source of sorrow. I myself am the source of joy as well as the source of sorrow. The unhealthy I is the source of sorrow. Healthy I is the source of ananda or joy. Or we can put it in Vedantic language, ignorant I is the source of sorrow, wise I is the source of ananda. As long as I do not understand this fact, I will go on manipulating the world, either getting things or getting rid of things, developing new relationship, getting rid of old relationships. My entire lifetime will be wasted like this, manipulating people, situations, relationships, etc. And by the time I discover that the problem is not outside, my one leg is in the grave. Then what? Then next birth, again start from scratch. Therefore, an intelligent person understands that the problem is with me. As Puja Swamiji says, you are the problem and you are the solution. Therefore, this raga and dvesha are managed through karma yoga. Therefore, vita raga means one who knows how to handle the raga dvesha, one who is not a slave of likes and dislikes. So the first task is attachment or emotional dependence on the world should get diluted or go away. And how to achieve that? Krishna says, Manmaya mamupashrita hai. Manmaya means obsessed with the thought of me. That is keeping the God as the primary goal of life. That obsession is indicated by the word Manmaya, Ishwaramaya. It is just like, this obsession is just like, you can compare it to, for example, there is a person who wants to become a Wimbledon tennis player. Or for that matter, world chess champion. Whatever he does in his life, in his mind, there is only one thought he will have always. For a Wimbledon aspirant, tennis, tennis, tennis. For a world chess championship aspirant, chess, chess, chess only. He will breathe chess, eat chess, drink chess. Every second he will be thinking about chess only. That is called obsession, born out of an intense yearning. So switch over from dependence on the world to dependence on God, because as even I come to know more and more, I understand that dependence on the world is a risky thing. The world is very fluid, it is unpredictable. Anything can happen at any time for anyone. Life being unpredictable, Once I know the presence of God, then only I will have permanent security and my dependence will be shifted from world dependence to God dependence. Raga will shift from Vishwa Raga, attachment to the world, to Ishwara Raga, attachment to Bhagawad. And again, this Vishwa Raga, attachment to the world, runs into two streams. One is bhayam, fear. Wherever there is possession of a desired object or a desired person, there will always be a fear of losing it. Bhayam or fear is directly proportional to the degree of attachment. Greater the attachment, greater the insecurity, greater the fear of losing it. And that's why, suppose somebody in the family, let's say your husband or wife or children, they've gone out. And they told that we will be back by so and so time, say evening 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock they have not come, 7 o'clock they have not come, 8 o'clock they have not come, 9 o'clock they have not come, they are not reachable. Cell phone they are not answering. What will be the reaction? All negative thoughts will be triggered. We will get worked up, we will get anxious. Because of what? Because of the fear. What might have happened? Never, we will never think that, okay, there must be a reason why this is happening. We will immediately think, oh, what might have happened? Not picking up the phone also. Therefore, bhayam invariably follows raga. If a neighbor is going to come late and all that, you won't bother. There is no attachment. This raga problem will come, this fear problem will come only when there is raga, when there is attachment. This is one consequence, fear of raga. Other consequence is krodha. Unfulfilled desires lead to anger, or even somebody takes away what you possess also leads to anger. Bhagavan Krishna has already spoken about this relationship between raga and krodha. We saw it in the 3rd chapter, verse number 37. I'm not going to repeat it. We have talked enough about the connection between raga. Both are the two sides of the same coin. The same idea he recalls here to emphasize the importance of this first step in the spiritual path. Therefore, convert all desires into non-binding desires. Vita raga, vita bhaya, vita krodha. Get rid of these 3 impurities. Therefore, manmaya means once you are so much tired of your own mental sickness in the form of raga, dvesha, kama, krodha, etc., you want to convert your sick mind into a mind of compassion, a mind of love, a mind of security. That inner conversion is called attainment of Godhood. See, initially, Vedanta presents God as an external goal, but ultimately, Godhood is presented as my own secure self, healthy self, full self, contented self. This self is symbolized as God. Therefore, this inner conversion is called attainment of Godhood, which is expressed here by the word manmaya. This is the process to discover or tap our fullest potential. But of course, all these are easier said than done. But unlike other purusharthas, like, your Kama Purushartha, Dharma Purushartha, etc., Moksha Purushartha is extremely challenging. Of course, this is not to say that other Purusharthas are cakewalk. You have to put in a lot of efforts for gaining the other Purusharthas also, Dharma, Artha, Kama. But pursuit of moksha is full of obstacles. The Shastra, it is said, Shreyamsi bahuvignani bhavanti mahatam api. Shreyamsi, all noble pursuits will face many obstacles. And that is indicated through the Puranic story of Samudra Matana. Many of you would have heard it. When the Devas and Asuras wanted to churn the ocean to attain Amritam or immortality, they faced problems right from the beginning. It was the ocean of milk they wanted to churn. For churning the ocean, they required a big, what they call girdle or what they call it in English, I don't know, mathana. In Tamil, call it math. So they took that Mantara Parvat, a mountain, to do that. And Devas found that they could not do it alone. So they went to Bhagwan. Bhagavan said, you take the help of Asuras. You can't do it alone. But they said, well, we have been fighting with Asuras. It doesn't matter. He said, now befriend them and do it. Later on, we will see what happens. So they took the help of their arch rivals, Asuras. And right from the beginning, they faced obstacles after obstacles. As the churning progressed, so many beautiful things also came out of that churning. But in spite of all the obstacles, they had the determination to attain Amritam. And at every stage, the Lord was involved, as I told. And they were churning the ocean with the help of the mountain Manthara Parvatam. However, this mountain Manthara was too enormous. And when they were churning, it sank to the bottom of the ocean. And that is the story for Vishnu to take Kurma Avatara. He took Kurma Avatara to rescue and supported the mountain on its shell. This is the story of Bhagavan's Kurma Avatara. So for that, in order to support a very heavy rocky stuff, Bhagavan took Avatara as Kurma, as we discussed in the Avatara Rahasyam. Appropriate physical body, Bhagavan will manifest in. Of course, what does this story say? It says that we can never accomplish anything without the support of the Lord. No doubt, my effort is a must. But effort alone is not enough. It should be backed by Ishvara Anugraha. And that is indicated here by the word Mamupashritaha, taking refuge in me, taking my support or surrendering unto me. Those people, they do whatever they have to do. Those people mean those wise people who have attained this. Once you have the Ishvara Anugraha and your own free will in action, there is a determination. That is called appropriate use of free will. Manmaya corresponds to our free will. Mamupasritaha corresponds to Ishvara Anugraha. Both have to come together for us to be successful in anything in our life. So this karma yoga you practice. And once the mind is purified, once the mind is no longer a slave of these four unhealthy thoughts, Raga, Dvesha, Kama, Krodha, no longer in the grip of this, the mind has become pure. But is that enough for moksha? Answer is no. It is not enough to attain moksha because it is only a pure mind. It is not a wise mind. As we have been discussing again and again, Karma Yoga can give you purity. Karma Yoga cannot give jnanam, it cannot give wisdom. Therefore, having handled the raga dveshas of the mind, you have to separately work for knowledge. And no knowledge happens on its own. One has to work for any knowledge, whether it is physics knowledge, chemistry knowledge, geography knowledge, any knowledge, you have to work hard. And if required, take extra tuitions also. And any knowledge is a result of consistent effort for a length of time. Both are very important. Consistent effort is important and the length of time is important. There is nothing called crash course. As Swami Paramatmanandaji says, if you take a crash course, you will crash. Even gaining material knowledge requires consistent effort for a length of time. Then what to talk of spiritual knowledge? It can never happen unless you work for it. And Krishna calls that jnana tapas. Because working for spiritual knowledge is also a type of austerity. To attend the Gita Upanishad classes regularly is not a joke. There will be obstacles. If you are trying to do that being at home, not in a ashram or gurukulam, you will find right at the time some guests will drop in during class time. There will be phone calls to disturb you. Then we will have important other functions like marriage, etc. to attend. We will be confronted with all these obstacles. Therefore, if you have to come to the classes, study, remember, and progress, it requires tapas, austerity, requires a strict discipline. It requires an unwavering commitment and it calls for many sacrifices. Prioritizing self-knowledge over hundreds of other temptations is not easy. Therefore, here Krishna compares, understanding all this, Krishna compares it to tapas, jnana tapas, he says. So, by the practice of this jnana tapas, otherwise called jnana yoga, otherwise called Vedanta Shravana Manana Nididhyasanam, by practice of that, Puta those people get completely purified. So purifying is also, purification of the mind also undergoes a twin process or two-stage process. Handling raga dvesha is only partial purification. Handling kama krodha is only partial purification. You have to remove the basic impurity for complete purification. And what is the basic impurity? Self-ignorance. If that basic impurity of self-ignorance, without removing that basic impurity, one can never be totally pure and therefore totally healthy also. In this very chapter, Krishna will say later, Nahi jnanena sadrisham pavitram iha vidyate. There is no other purifier like knowledge, that is self-knowledge. And therefore, here is in this sloka, he says, by the practice of jnana yoga, the seekers rid themselves of the finer layer of impurity. It is just like, we can compare it to when you mine this metals from the earth, gold, iron, etc. It comes in the form of an ore. In Sanskrit, it's called dhatu, which cannot be used directly. That is why in Sanskrit is called the verbal root is called a dhatu. We cannot use the verbal root directly in the language without putting it through certain other processes. Adding upasarga, adding pratyaya, etc. Then only it can be used in the language. But the core part is dhatu. So even that iron ore or metal ore, they have to go through several stages of purification. So many processes, including electrolytic process in the final stage, are used to remove the finest impurities. Grosser methods like washing and with water and things like that, they are used to remove the grosser impurity. Subtler method for removing subtler impurity, subtlest method to remove the subtlest impurity. And it has to follow a certain process, rather certain stage, certain sequence. You cannot use the electrolytic process in the initial stage itself. Therefore, you cannot straight away jump into Jnana Yoga. Appropriate process must be used. Karma Yoga should first you have to do surrender to God. Then Karma Yoga. Then come to Jnana Yoga. And in the case of people, the finest impurity is Ajnanam, ignorance, self-ignorance. Grossest impurity is Raga Dvesha. Subtler impurity is extrovertedness, the three layers of impurity. These are the three layers. So, gross impurity, Raga Dvesha. Subtler impurity, extrovertedness. And the finest impurity is Ajnanam. And the Shastra gives three names for that also. First layer is called Malam, gross impurity, Raga Dvesha. Second layer is called Vikshepa, extrovertedness. Third layer is called Avaranam. Malam is like Raga Dvesha, likes and dislikes, grossest one. Vikshepa is a wandering mind. Never at rest, always looking for something. It is subtler. And self-ignorance is the subtlest one. So we have to use three processes to remove these three types of impurities. Karma Yoga removes Malam, Upasana removes Vikshepa, Jnana Yoga removes Avarana. Karma Yoga cannot remove Avaranam and Jnana Yoga cannot remove the Malam also. So step by step, all three will have to be used in the appropriate order. And the order is very, very important. Therefore, he says, Bahavah Jnana Tapasa Putaha. Many people, scores of people, not one or two people, but scores of people have purified themselves totally by finally practicing the Jnana Yoga. And by removing all the impurities, what did they find? Agataha madbhavam. They did not reach God. They did not meet God. They discovered that I minus impurity is God. God is impurity. God plus impurity is I, Jivatma. Jivatma minus impurity is Paramatma. But initially, a person does not know that. Therefore, he is told that Bhagavan is in Shiva Loka or Vishnu Loka, etc. And one is asked to attain Paramapadam or Shiva Loka Prapti, etc. And the scriptures have to initially present it as though it is a physical event of union. But ultimately, it is not a physical event of union at all, but it's a figurative event of self-discovery. Therefore, when I remove my weakness and ignorance, I know that I am what I have been seeking all the time. That is the beauty. We keep on seeking what we already are without knowing. Therefore, Krishna says, Mad bhavam agata hai. They attain my nature. They do not physically reach me. They all attain my nature. What is my nature? My nature is Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, the nature of fullness, the nature of security, the nature of Purnatvam. They attain. They find out that Bhagavan is not somewhere outside, but within their own self. At that stage, Bhagavan dependence will be converted into self-dependence. And that's the last thing. So what are the stages? We move from world dependence to God dependence to self-dependence, wherein I will discover Bhagavan as myself. And that is the stage of Jiva Ishvara Aikyam. And therefore, he says, Arjuna, you have to go through all these stages. What are those? Number one, spiritual goal must be the top priority. Material goals need not be eliminated, but they should be remembered as subservient to spiritual goal. This is the first stage where getting a direction in life. Second stage is resorting or taking the help of the Lord in this grand journey, because individually I can never travel. Therefore, the second stage is surrender to the God. The third stage is purification of the mind by reducing the impact of raga, dvesha, bhaya, krodha, practicing karma yoga. Fourth stage is studying the scriptures. Shravana, manana, nididhyasanam, gain self-knowledge. Arjuna, many people have done that. You also do. That's what Krishna advises. Now, in the next sloka, Krishna makes a beautiful point. What is that point? I will reveal after I recite the sloka. Ye yatha mam prabhadyante tam stataiva bhajamyaham mama vartmanu vartante manushyav partha sarvashah. Anvaya is ye mam prabhadyante yata aham bhajami tan tata eva. He partha manushyaha anuvartante mama vartma sarvashah. Ye mam prabhadyante, whoever approaches me, yatha, with any desire, aham bhajami tan, I bless them. Tata eva, with their desire itself, with that desire itself. He partha, O Arjuna, manushyaha anuvartante, people follow mat varma, my path, sarvashaha, by all means. So Krishna says, Arjuna, whoever approaches me with any desire, I bless them with that desire itself. O Arjuna, people follow my path by all means. So as I said, here Krishna makes another beautiful point. While giving the suggestion that the spiritual goal must be the primary goal, Krishna here is pointing out that I do not want to impose that goal upon you, Arjuna, or for that matter, anyone. If that person is going to claim that he or she has no interest in spirituality, if a person says, I don't want moksha, why are you going on enforcing moksha on that? I don't want it. Well, everybody need not be interested in moksha. And our tradition, our Sanatana Dharma, gives full freedom to the seeker. It does not enforce anything upon anyone. Therefore, Krishna is suggesting in this sloka that I am here to suggest and recommend to you moksha, Arjuna, which is a worthwhile goal. In fact, unknowingly, everybody is seeking moksha alone in their life. If you study, carefully analyze everyone of the human pursuit, what are we looking for? We are looking for independence only. Suppose you are traveling by bus or auto, rickshaw, etc. You face a lot of problems. Bus will stop somewhere, auto rickshaw may come, not come. Then in the bus there may be pickpocket problem, etc. Finally, what you do? I will buy my own car. I will be independent of this. Isn't it? So if you go on analyzing, everybody is looking for independence only in their life, in every action they do. More we will discuss about it in the next class. Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
Namaskaram,
Thank you very
Guruji.
much.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Thank you, Guruji.
Hari Om.
Thank you, Guruji. Hari
Thank you,
Om.
Guruji, for the beautiful
Hari Om.
session.
Namaskaram, Guruji.
Namaskaram.
Thank you, Guruji. Namaskaram.
Hari Om. Yes, Hariji. Your hands are up. Namaste.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Guruji, the word sadhana. Sadhana, and what is the root word of sadhana and what does it mean? Does it have any relation between sadhu and sadhana?
I am not sure. I'll have to check that up. I think the root word is sadril. Sadrilu. Sadrilu, I think. Right? I'll have to check that up.
Okay.
The meaning, of course, of sadhana is, generally speaking, any effort is a sadhana.
Okay.
Let me check and confirm, because
Does it have any relation when we say sadhu?
I think sadhana and sadhu, the root word is the same.
Okay.
But sadhana is a instrument case. Sadhu will be a karta case. That is what is that?
Noun, Guruji. Noun.
It will be a noun, but it will be the first case, prathama vibhakti. So let me check that. Let me check. I don't want to hazard a guess.
Okay. Okay.
So let me, because it's a Sanskrit question, not a.
No. It's actually, no, I didn't ask that from the. No, I am not eligible to ask anything.
No, you are
connected with
eligible to ask
Sanskrit.
anything. Any student can ask any question. And as Modi ji says, you ask because you have confidence that I will be able to give an answer. That's why you ask.
No, it is purely.
No, I don't.
We always use the.
Sorry?
We always use that word sadhana, and
and I don't
sadhu.
give
So,
some hazard a guess on that, or this should be that, like that. Let me refer to the exact what is that the source, and then give you both for sadhana and sadhu what are the answers. Next class I will let you know that. Okay.
Okay then. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
It shows up as instrument or means, sadhana.
Sadhana, yeah, it's instrumental ke sadhana. It is.
The meaning itself is instrument, it says. Instrument is the.
No, sadhana is an instrument, but what is the root word is what we should see. No?
Okay.
Let me see whether I can find it out right here now itself. Give me 1 minute.
Okay. No, you can give me real clarification in the next class. That would be better. So that you will have sufficient time to do the research.
Yeah, that is quite true. I think that will be better because again,
Yeah.
Sad Dhatu is there. We will see that. I'll come back to you on that. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Any other question?
Just a comment, Guruji. Namaskaram. Anjali here. I was attending one course on power of subconscious mind. So there, I came to know one new word. Like say we say intelligent quotient, emotional quotient. Like that, it was the spiritual quotient.
What quotient?
Spiritual quotient.
Spiritual quotient. SQ.
Yeah. Spiritual quotient. And usually they will look at that spiritual quotient to enhance our spiritual quotient. One should do meditation, japa and meditation. And I'm also on a couple of spiritual groups. They will ask, the first question they will ask is, what is that upasana you do? Sadhana and upasana. So after attending your discourse, I have been diverting them to the step that no, karma yoga, jnana yoga, this is the way to the moksha. So this is also important, equally important. But usually people will take it as upasana, as meditation and namasmaran.
See, meditation itself, what it does mean? See, a mother who has given birth to a child, new mother, right? Just what she will be, she meditating upon.
Baby.
Always thinking of the baby.
Yeah.
Right? Even when the nurse takes the baby away to give a bath or something in the nursing home, the mother will still be thinking of the baby only. Oh, what would have happened? That is the kind of, meditation or mental occupation one needs to do whenever one does sits in meditation. And that it actually increases the focus on the object of meditation. Meditation is not an end in itself. Meditation is a means to bring your mind into a stage of focus, concentration, so that when you are going to learn something, you are able to concentrate on that. It is training the mind to focus. That's why in yoga, in Ashtanga yoga and all, they have all this, the lamp they will light and ask you to focus on the lamp.
Trataka.
Trataka. So eyes and mind focus on that, this thing. It's all to train the mind, because our mind is very extrovert in nature. 1 second you give, it will just go away far and wide. It will travel the whole world and come back.
Yeah.
So meditation is not something you are going to achieve through meditation. You achieve is preparatory focus, and that's what you achieve through meditation. That is what when one sits for meditation, one should understand that. They should not think that meditation itself is going to give you some spiritual growth and all. Nothing will give. Of course, if you are going to meditate upon some alambana, some god, for example, Vishnu, you can meditate upon so many aspects of Vishnu also, rather. That will bring you closer to the Lord, rather, okay, in terms of emotional attachment. But in Vedanta, that is only the first stage. But to keep moving from there, as I said, from world dependence to God dependence to self-dependence, that is the spiritual route one has to take. That is the Vedantic formula.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
that way,
Nice.
spiritual quotient and all very fine. It is very important. Spiritual quotient, very important.
Yeah.
There is no way to measure it rather. When you are saying IQ and all they measure, then they came to EQ, right? Emotional quotient. See, the beauty is all these management gurus, they have to keep on inventing new jargons in order to keep the people engaged. Isn't it? First they talked of IQ, then they started talking of EQ, emotional quotient. Then now they are talking of SQ, spiritual quotient. So that is
But
their
but it is good that they have realized the importance that has entered
that is true. I
in
mean,
the courses.
see,
Yeah.
you may talk about it, you may not talk about it, you may know it, you may not know it. Everybody is spiritual by their nature. Right?
Yeah.
It is only because of their ignorance of their real nature, they become non-spiritual or do things which are not spiritually conducive. That's all. So the problem is not having spirituality. Problem is not knowing that you are spiritual. Or in fact, some people have a fashion to say, I am not spiritual. Some others will also say, I am a different kind of spiritual person, you know. Every evening I become spiritual, like that and all.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice, Guruji. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Are you? Yes, Vijayaji. Vijayapriya.
This is Srikanth here. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, I'm able to hear. Yeah, come.
My question is, actually, I remember when question was asked the previous about meditation, you were explaining thinking about one thing to the exclusion of the other, right? Swami Paramarthananda used to use a Sanskrit sentence for saying that. Do you remember that or call that?
Yeah, Vritti Pravaha, he says. Vritti Pravaha means the flow of thoughts. Right? Vritti means thought. So it should flow in only on one thing. If I'm not wrong, that is what is the meditation is defined as Vritti Pravaha. There is one more word in the beginning.
I think if I remember right, something in Vivek Chudamani also to that effect. Or Shankara has made this statement somewhere.
Yeah, it's actually originally Shankara has written what is this meditation in the context of Nididhyasana. He says that it is Vritti Pravaha, that is the thought, continuing the thought on one object or one theme continuously. Pravaha means what? A continuous flow, right? Vritti means thought. So the thought, the mind is not allowed to wander away from that one thought, which is what is the purpose of doing that meditation. So that is what is the process. We explain it in English, one object, but it is easier said than done. You try to do that. More than 30 seconds, you will not be able to do it. And that is why, in Sandhya Vandanam and all, they have got this Gayatri Japa, they have included that. Gayatri Japa, if you start practicing, initial stages, one side of the mind will be chanting Gayatri Japa, another side of the mind will be going around all the world. Once you understand, once you realize that or become aware of that, then you deliberately remove the other things and bring it more and more and more to focusing on Gayatri Japa. It takes years to do that, I can tell you. And once you reach that, then it's very easy. When you sit for Gayatri Japa, 1008 Gayatris, you can easily chant without any distraction of thoughts. So this is how, the practice has to be done. And as I said, all the spiritual things are not very easy. It's not fast food business. Okay, I have attended 3-4 classes. Oh, I have become spiritual. That is what happened like that. Consistent for a period, length of time, it has to be applied. Then only it will work. Yeah.
Thank you. Happy Ganesh Chaturthi, Guruji.
Happy Ganesh Chaturthi to all. Yes, thank you very much. Thank you. Lataji.
Yes, Guruji, namaskaram.
Namaskar.
Thank you for the beautiful session, Guruji. It was like a very difficult mathematic problem solved with simple steps, like every step being broken down to so many steps and then again sub steps, and each step explained so beautifully. Your explanation made it appear simple, but I'm sure every step is requires a lot of sadhana and dedication and devotion. Thank you very much. Yes, just wanted to express about when we were talking about meditation, Anjali ji and another respected participant, he also was asking question. When I was listening to one of the lectures by, I'm sorry, I'm not getting the name of the Swamiji of the Chinmaya Mission. He simplified meditation as from many thoughts you bring your mind to fewer thoughts, from fewer thoughts to one thought, and one thought to even transcend that thought and going to the stage of no thought. That was the way he was putting it, Guruji. So thank you very much.
No thought stage is Vedanta doesn't talk about no thought stage.
No, in the sense you transcend the thoughts, where you just observe the thoughts. You become the observer of the thoughts rather than going to the thoughtless stage is not possible.
That is, the thought itself merges into you rather.
Yeah.
You can understand. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Guruji. Hari Om.
Okay, Hari Om. Thank you. Thank you all. Anything else? Otherwise, I'll close the session if there are no questions. Okay, Hari Om. Dhanyavada.
Thank you, Guruji. Hari Om. Thank you.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you.